Hear the whispers from within, balance to restore, ailings to relieve. Feel the nature keeping us, nature healing us. Flowers, leaves, and roots within. Hear the mind calming you, soothing you. Love and kindness inside out. Let the herbs from middle world heal. Welcome wellness, welcome wellness. It's revealed herbs, middle world herbs.
Hello and welcome to the Middle World Herbs Natural Wellbeing series, where we talk about restoring and maintaining your health in safe and natural ways, while incorporating both the physical and the emotional sides of healing. We go live twice a week on Wednesdays and Thursdays at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and each week we talk about different aspects of health. Today's episode is called Herbs You Should Know, and we're going to be discussing 8 aspects of health, highlighting herbs and supplements which can help you restore and maintain your health in 100% natural ways. My name is Deanne and I am your host today, and I have our special guest, Dr. Jacquie N.D, a naturopathic medical doctor, board certified holistic nutritionist, and psychology enthusiast with us. So Dr. Jacquie, welcome. Thanks for joining us for today's episode. And we always love to have you just do a little introduction on how you got into your journey and maybe what you've learned about supplements in natural medicine.
So, in terms of supplements for what I do, so those of you who may not know, I'm a naturopathic doctor, and one of the tools in my toolkit outside of diet and lifestyle interventions are utilizing things like herbs and supplements to address, prevent, maintain some level of health, vitality, address illness, things like that. So when it comes to supplements, I think the important things to pay attention to when deciding on what makes a quality supplement, there are a handful of things to really pay attention to. I think the first one that a lot of people maybe overlook is what exactly is the nutrient and what are you trying to accomplish with it, right? So sometimes people believe what's on the box, or they'll buy into the marketing more than actually understanding what it is they're putting into their body. And so if you can take 5 or 10 minutes of your time and look into things like B12, what is B12? What am I seeking to accomplish with B12? Does it even do what I want it to do? I think a lot of people who go buy supplements, it's usually from hearsay or other people recommending. And so they're not really even sure what the action of that substance is that they want to apply to themselves, right? So for example, if you have digestive issues and people come in for a multivitamin to supplement stores, I've overheard that a lot, or, certain things that have to do with different systems. And then other people will educate them in the aisle right there and say, oh, you need B12 if you're having indigestion, right? B12 is utilized in energy. It's not going to help something like indigestion in most cases. And so that misinformation can happen really often with supplements especially. So just make sure you know what you're trying to achieve with the supplement, and make sure that it matches with what you're taking. So the second thing is making sure that it's a bioavailable form. So supplements can come in all different shapes and sizes, right? All different forms. Why is one B12 $8 and one B12 $60? And the difference in that example is going to be what's called bioavailability. Is it available to our biology? So go to your shelf if you have supplements right now, or when you get home. Check out your B12, look at the label. Does it say something like cyanocobalamin, or does it say methylcobalamin? Cyanocobalamin is not bioavailable, meaning that the body is not going to utilize as much B12 as it can, right? The methylcobalamin will. So it's going to be more expensive, but it's going to be more specific to what you need, and it's going to be more available to your biology to be utilized, right? So we want to make sure that the form of the nutrient isn't a synthetic form that we're just going to process through the body with no effects. We want to make sure it's bioavailable to us so that we see the benefit that we're seeking to achieve when we're taking it. The third thing is what are known as excipients. What are excipients? It's a funny word. Excipients are added ingredients to supplements. They're binders, they're preservatives, they're fillers, powders, things like that, colors, different, dyes and things like that. Um, that can actually cause a host of other issues in a person. And so they're taking a nutrient, but then they're taking a filler, pardon me, or a preservative at the same time. So maybe they're getting a slight benefit from the nutrient, but they're also having some inflammation or GI distress with the excipient. And so it kind of is a wash, and they're spending their time and money, to not have a benefit or not see as much of a benefit as possible. So we want to make sure that the other ingredients on our supplement labels are very low, if any. And last but not least, something that the cherry on the sundae is if the herbs and supplements and or nutrients are derived sustainably. What does that mean? That means minimal negative impact on the earth, on the soil, on the environment, the local environment, and maximum impact for those involved working with the project, i.e. paying a living wage to employees, really comfortable, healthy, happy, supportive work conditions, and then again, utilizing sustainability, your drip irrigation, rainwater catching, making sure crop rotation to keep the soil rich in nutrients. These are really fantastic things to make sure that we're supporting when we look into utilizing herbs and supplements, as medicine, if that's you out there listening. So those are the top 4 or 5 things that I would look for when deciding on a quality supplement. And I can't wait to answer more questions about the supplements today. So thanks for the question. It was a long answer, but hopefully helpful to people who are confused about what makes a supplement.
Yes. I've never thought about that. Like, I'm totally one of those average people that probably would walk in to, I haven't been inside a GNC in a long time, but this looks good. Actually, I shop everything on Amazon. So I'm like, multivitamins, good rating. I don't know if mine are bioavailable. I don't know. I need to go check now. I have no idea. I probably need to toss it. It was pretty cheap, so it's probably not. So yeah, I think that's really interesting. And then my follow-up for you is when you are at like a CVS and you're like listening to misinformation, do you have to like restrain yourself from going up, or do you just like tell them, hey,
it's very difficult. I'm going to be honest. I had a personal evolution when I first started. I was a new grad. I was super excited, and I was, I just wanted to tell everyone all the things all the time. So I would definitely butt in on those conversations and throw my 2 cents in and use the whole, well, I do specialize in this area. So I was a little bit too probably assumptive early on, just because I really was excited to help. But I think over time doing that and recognizing, boundaries probably. I don't want to interrupt or anything like that. If somebody has a question, maybe once in a while, if I know that it's just blatantly false information or it might hurt the person, I've had to step in a couple of times and say, actually, you don't want to mix those together, just because it's a safety ruling and I feel kind of responsible at that point. Yeah. But if it's just guys talking about the best protein and ratios and like energy and pre-workout, and I'm going to kind of let them do their thing, and make their own decisions and their own trial and error. But yeah, so I bite my tongue.
You're like, wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong.
But hey, you know what? That's their journey, right? That's their journey. If it's not hurting them, it's not my place. But I do feel a sense of responsibility to help if I do think it's going to be problematic or dangerous for a person.
Totally. No, that's good. I love that. That's awesome. All right. Well, let's start talking about digestive health. I know that's a topic that's near and dear to your heart. So why would most people benefit from taking a pre and probiotic?
So pre and probiotics, biotics, what do they mean? What's the word? A lot of people wonder. And when it comes to pre and probiotics, biotics are just alive things. So when we take, the example I used yesterday really briefly was something like an antibiotic. And I use that word just because a lot of people are familiar with it. So what does that mean? Well, we mean against or stop, right? So antibiotics are against and or stop biotics, bacteria or alive living things, from giving us infections, making us sick. And so that's the job of an antibiotic. So when we want to increase good bacteria, though, which we absolutely need to survive. We have way more good bacteria in and on our body than we actually have our own cells with our own DNA, which is pretty interesting. So we want to keep that vast population happy. And how do we do that? How do we keep our body fighting the good fight? Weight management, immune support, happy, healthy gut microbes that help with regular bowel movements that are easy, and no bloating and no indigestion. How do we do that? Is we take a probiotic, or we eat foods high in probiotics, which tend to be fermented foods. And so when we take in probiotics through our diet or through a supplement, we're actually helping our body repopulate all of those happy, healthy gut microbes that need to be present to do all the cool things that they do for us. So outside of taking them in, they need to be maintained other ways. Another way is to feed them. Well, what can we take or eat or do to feed the happy, healthy guys? Is eat fiber. Fiber is what's known as what's called a prebiotic. And a prebiotic, pre means coming before, is what's needed in the colon first for the probiotics and to feed them, for them to maintain that population, right? In order to drive that healthy, happy population of probiotics to do all the cool stuff we need it to do. So we want a happy, healthy hormone, serotonin, right? To stabilize our mood, stabilize our appetite, prevent us from stress eating or losing our appetite when we're stressed. Well, what helps produce that? 80% of serotonin is produced in the gut by probiotics. Probiotics live off of prebiotics. So we need both in order to make that kind of biological impact. And that's really the benefit of eating and taking both pre and probiotics, for sure. I mean, it sets into motion, Dan, like this domino effect of health. When your gut is good, your immune system's good, your mood and hormones are good, your bowel movements and your weight are good, your elimination is good. It's just, checks so many boxes, pre and probiotics, for sure. Super important things.
Absolutely. So it's such a perfect supplement for us to start with here on today's show. And I have with me the Middle World Pre and Probiotic Supplement. It is a delayed release. You guys can't see me yet, but I'm holding it. Hey, James.
I know. Where's James?
I know he is. All right, here I am with it. All right, so this one is a delayed release formula. It has 4.1 billion CFUs and patented delivery system, which can make sure that you don't bloat. So that's great. The regular price on this one is $22.99, but today we are offering 15% off. So make sure you click the banner and grab that discount. All right, well, now let's chat about digestive enzymes for a minute. And what do digestive enzymes do, and how can we tell if we might be deficient in them?
So digestive enzymes, what do they do? So we release enzymes in almost every part of the tube that is our GI tract. So I think a lot of people get confused when we think of the GI tract, but when in reality, it's just a long tube with two openings, one at the top and one at the bottom. And it just kinks and curls and tweaks at different points, right? And different levels do different things. But they're all responsible for taking big molecules in food and turning it into tiny nutrients that can be absorbed. So how do we get from a turkey sandwich to tryptophan and saccharides and fatty acids and all the things that are in that turkey sandwich? That is the primary responsibility of digestive enzymes. And so we have some that are released in the mouth, right? Put a cracker in your mouth, it dissolves pretty instantly. That's amylase. That's a digestive enzyme. Then we have them in our stomach. We have them in our small intestines at every level. And that's where most absorption of nutrition from food comes into play, because once we have everything broken up into its tiniest parts, that's when it can go into the bloodstream and go to all the places in the body that need that nutrition. But it has to be broken up into its tiniest parts. And so if we don't have digestive enzymes and we're not breaking things apart to its tiniest size in order to be absorbed, what do you think would happen with clunkier, bigger pieces of stuff? It's gonna hurt, right? So that's when we get gas and bloating and indigestion. And that's when we have pain and cramping and difficulty with our bowel movements. And, digestive enzymes are necessary to break down food. So if after every meal, you're getting a little uncomfortable, a little nauseous, a little full, you have distension of your belly, these are good signs that you might potentially need more help with digestive enzymes in your diet. Okay, so anything that makes digestion harder usually mean that the things that need to do the work didn't show up. And one of the biggest things when it comes to digestive enzymes is all of the symptoms that I listed. So if you suffer from that, I would definitely consider talking to someone about digestive enzymes for sure.
All right. So yeah, if you're recognizing any of those symptoms, digestive enzymes is probably a really good idea for something to consider adding to either your daily routine or as needed. One thing about them is that they work kind of fast. So if you're going to go out for a meal and you know you might have foods that are going to be hard to digest, you just pop this 20 minutes before you take your meal, and then it sets into action. And it should work for about the next 2 to 3 hours, helping your body break down that indulgent meal or perhaps a late night snack. So digestive enzymes are $17.99 right now, but you are getting an additional 15% off. So make sure you click the banner for that. All right, next up, we're talking about our liver detox. So Dr. Jacquie, why does our liver need to detox, and what are some of the herbs which help the liver detox?
So the liver is constantly working. It's constantly doing a ton of stuff. Some major roles are things like detoxing, like you just mentioned, which takes toxic substances that we put in and on our body, like medications, alcohol, cigarettes, different foods that have all those additives and colors and things like that in there. Well, they're relatively toxic to the body. And so how do we make them not toxic and safe enough for our body to pass them through and out through things like urine, sweat, and feces? Well, how does that happen? It happens in the liver. And so the liver is constantly doing that for us all day long. In addition, there are other areas of the liver that help with cholesterol production, sugar storage, hormone production breakdown and conjugation. So it's doing a ton of things all the time. And sometimes it needs a little bit of a break. We all are born with what I call our toxic capacity, right? It's a cup. Some people it's as tiny as a thimble. Some people it's as big as a bucket. And we have all these sizes in between. And when that cup runneth over, i.e. our toxic load capacity runs over, that's when we start getting sick. That's when we start noticing problems in our health. So what helps dump that cup out, right? Clean that cup out. And that is detoxing for the liver. Okay, so helping the liver flush, giving it a break from having to break down all that stuff all the time, i.e. avoiding certain foods, certain alcohol, certain maybe even medications, for the time being, depending on you, your health history, your physician, all that stuff. And then focusing on really supporting the liver and letting it produce more bile, dump that bile, clean itself out, regenerate any damaged cells. And that's where herbs and supplements come into play, because there are a couple of substances, herbs in particular, specifically built. Nature is so cool, I swear. Specifically built just for our liver, or at least it seems that way. So the first one is going to be dandelion. And I touched on this yesterday, so I don't want to be like too redundant. But just for anybody who maybe had missed it, the dandelion, almost the whole plant is usable outside of the flower, at least medicinally for the liver. So the first is we have those nice big jagged leaves, right? And the dandelion, again, is kind of that tall, stocky weed with the white floaties. You blow on it, you make a wish. So those of you who have that in your yard, you have dandelions. So those big jagged leaves that you see, when you dry those and put them in a tea or a capsule, that creates what's called a diuretic effect. Okay, diuretics, as you may or may not know, make us urinate more. When we urinate more, that means we're detoxing more, right? We're getting rid of urine. Our body is able to get rid of that waste more efficiently. The second thing dandelion does outside of the leaf is the root underground. When we pull that up, dry it out, and utilize it as medicine, that helps the liver actually produce more bile. By producing more bile, it's cleaning itself out, right? It's keeping the pipes moving. It's taking, pardon me, it's able to dump that bile into the gallbladder and into the digestive tract again to emulsify fats, to get rid of anything that's currently in the liver that hasn't had the chance to release yet. Dandelion root is fantastic for that. Then the second herb is going to be milk thistle, the OG, my OG of herbs at least. But milk thistle is really great because it's specific to the liver, like literally built for the liver, in the sense that it's called hepatoprotective, directly interacts with hepatocytes, which are the cells of the liver, helps regenerate new cells, helps repair damage to current cells. It's just a really great restorative for the liver. Kind of, I don't know. To me, milk thistle, I almost picture it giving the liver a hug. Just gives it that break and that support that it needs. And last but probably not least is going to be, let's see, there's so many. Antioxidants are going to be fantastic for your liver to help break down, oxidative stress. Were you about to say artichoke, Deanne?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So artichoke. Yeah, let's get to artichoke. So that also, it does the job of the other herbs, to be honest with you. It promotes bile production in the liver. It increases the presence of bile acids to clean the colon and go and leave the body through feces. It also helps increase the liver's ability to reduce harmful toxins in the bloodstream. It just does all the stuff. It also helps protect the hepatocytes as well. So the three together are pretty powerful, and they do the job of way more than just 3 herbs alone. And we definitely want to, like I said, just make sure on a regular basis we're dumping out that toxic cup so that we give our liver and our body a chance to prevent potential illness and symptoms and all the stuff that comes when we don't give our liver that break. We don't clean it out. It's like wringing out a sponge. You don't want to overuse a sponge, keep it dirty. You need to wring it out. You need to clean it out. And that's essentially what a liver detox does.
Nice. Okay, well, let me tell everyone about our liver detox formula. So here's the bottle. I always think this bottle's so pretty. Nice, pretty bottle. This is what the supplement looks like. So it's kind of got like this earthy color to it. And you, just like she had mentioned, the ingredient list has things like milk thistle, dandelion, artichoke leaf, and antioxidant-rich spinach leaf extract. Now, we have it on sale today for $21.99, but you're also going to get 15% off. So make sure you click the banner. And there's an amazing known herb for the benefits of metabolic health, and that one's berberine. So let's get into that one next. Dr. Jacquie, can you tell us a little bit more about berberine?
Awesome. Yes, berberine, my golden colored friend. Okay, so a handful of plants contain chemicals called alkaloids. Alkaloids do magical stuff in human bodies. For example, the coffee bean has an alkaloid, caffeine, and we love this stuff, right? So the point is there's these things in plants that change us, make us feel stuff, help disease, all of the above. And one of the alkaloids in certain plants, like Oregon grape, mahonia, which I think actually those are the same, but golden seal, these types of plants have berberine. And so it's this rich, goldeny colored, very highly antioxidant alkaloid. And so it helps it prevents bad cells from multiplying. And then those bad cells or cancerous cells traveling to other organ systems. Fantastic. It fights bacteria and viruses, so it's going to help support the immune system. It also helps with growth regulators of, again, bad mutated cells, so it's going to prevent that from happening in all organ systems. So berberine doesn't decide specifically, one system. It is system-wide, body-wide, which is pretty fantastic for a plant agent to be able to do that. But it also, more into the metabolic stuff, it's going to help your body use sugar more productively. It almost acts like insulin and prevents your liver from creating more glucose and helps your body respond to the glucose it's already utilizing. So it actually has been shown in studies to lower glucose levels in people with diabetes, which, as I'm sure we all know, high blood sugar causes damage, and that's the whole problem with diabetes. So when we can take stuff to help keep blood sugar normalized and or low or on the low end, then we can prevent that damage from happening, essentially. And that's what berberine does.
All right. Well, we have two berberine supplements. We have one that's just berberine extracted from barberries. That's our berberine HCl40. That one is on my list here. That one's $19.99. And then we have one with bitter melon and banaba leaf. That gives you just a stronger effect with your blood sugar, your cholesterol levels, and that one is $21.99. Both of them you're going to get 15% off today. So make sure you click that banner. Now you might be asking, okay, well, which one do I get? They both sound great. Which one is right for me? So while we always recommend consult your medical team first, your doctor first, here's some information for you to consider. So Dr. Jacquie, take it away.
Yes, of course. Okay, so I get asked this all the time. I have 4 or 5 supplements that all seem to do the same thing. What do I do? And I love Middle World for giving this chart because it really does help give more information. So for example, let's say you're looking at this chart, you want to accomplish and or support digestive health and metabolic health, right? So we want those first 2 boxes checked. But look a little bit deeper, okay? Do you have other issues going on? Okay, so if you have, maybe your digestive issues are specific to bloating and gas and discomfort, right? Then those first 3, right? You're going to narrow it down. And let's say you feel like you have high inflammation, then clearly, right? We've gone from choosing between 5 supplements to that first supplement, the pre and probiotics, seem to be the most fitting because it checks those boxes specific to you. Now, maybe inflammation isn't an issue, but gluten digestion is, right? Maybe you have a gluten sensitivity or dairy sensitivity. You know you're sensitive to certain foods. Then we're going to consider the digestive enzymes. They're going to be more fitting as compared to the the inflammation from the pre and probiotic column, right? And so you just kind of systematically go, what are your major issues, especially as it applies to GI health, but otherwise, do you have high cholesterol? Do you have diabetes? Do you have pre-diabetes, right? So the liver detox, do you have a history of drinking? Are you on a lot of medications? Do you have a history of high liver enzymes when you go to the doctor and get
Awesome.
I get through it fast. I know we have a lot of this to do. Okay.
Yes. No, you're doing great. Oh my gosh, it's so much information. You are like cranking it out. So hopefully everyone is loving our show and our webinar today. If you are, please hit that follow button. It's just a really good way for us all to stay connected. And you can also follow at Middle World Herbs on social media. All right, immune health. That's really top of mind for a lot of us lately. So let's see what we can do to keep our immune system healthy and strong. Dr. Jacquie, let's talk about quercetin. Where does it come from? Why should we know about it? And what if we deal with frequent infections?
That's a good one. Then if you do deal with frequent infections, quercetin could maybe possibly help. So it all depends on the root cause of the constant infection. But if it is in fact, your immune system needing a little bit of love and support, quercetin could definitely help you out. So it's found really high in certain foods, specifically goitrogen type vegetables like broccoli and kale, and also onions and peppers. Also in the fruit family, we're going to look at apples, certain berries, all grapes. They're all going to have quercetin. Herbs like dill, some teas, some wines, these are all going to have quercetin present. And so how does quercetin help the immune system? It's actually a very specific activity known as antioxidation. And antioxidation, it's built right in the word, right? Anti or against oxidation or oxidative stress. So what's oxidative stress? Just like, and I used this analogy yesterday, but just like your bike will rust in the rain or in bad weather when left outside, sometimes because of the harsh weather and conditions, sometimes when we have long-term internal harsh conditions, we can create what is, again, as an analogy, internal rust, or AKA oxidative stress. And quercetin is fantastic because it addresses and prevents that from happening. And when we don't have that internal oxidation process happening, then our cells are happier, our body's more vital, the immune system is working to fight viruses and bacteria more efficiently. Our histamine response is lower, so we don't get all that histamine-y, allergy-y type symptoms. It just, our body, especially the immune system, is just happier all the way around with quercetin present.
Nice. Well, I have with me our Middle World Immune Support right here. This one includes 500 milligrams of quercetin, and that's per capsule. Now, this one we have 50% off right now. It's $20.99, so you're going to get an additional 15% off. And it's definitely something you want to keep in your cabinet, especially before cold and flu season, but I think year round. This is one of my favorite supplements that we have. All right, doctor, speaking of favorite supplements, mushrooms. We also know those are good for immune health. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I would love to. Okay, so how are immune cells made, everyone? Really quick bio lesson. Our bone marrow is fantastic at making what are known as dendritic cells, okay? And dendritic cells can turn into and make really cool and important immune cells. One of the most common being the T cell. T cell is a very important white blood cell that can recognize and then eventually deactivate and destroy antigens, which are things sticking out of invading microbes. So whenever the body picks up on those antigens or those things sticking out of those microbes, the mushroom actually helps the body make and send those fighter T cells to destroy it. So mushrooms are fantastic, just helping keep our front line of our immune system in check, helping lower inflammation. Our body makes these substances called cytokines when we're inflamed. They can give us depression when they pass the blood-brain barrier. They can make joints hurt, muscles hurt. We just kind of feel crappy. And mushrooms are great at actually lowering cytokine activity and, helping quell out that inflammation so that the immune cells can do their job better. More T cells, more B cells, all the good cells that help fight the good fight. So mushrooms do a lot of different things as it applies to the immune cells. But I think that that's probably going to be the most impactful for sure.
Nice. All right. Well, our Middle World Mushroom Formula, this is one of our most sought after supplements because it has so many benefits, including immune health and beyond. So we have this one right now for 15% off. It is $22.99. So $22.99 for your 60-day supplements up in there. 60-day supply. Not 60-day supply. Hold on. Let me make sure the serving size. Serving size is 1 capsule. So yeah, 60 days. 60 days. So you will be a 60-day supply. You could take 2 as well. So 30 to 60 days. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit more about our digestive health too. So we talked a little bit about pre and probiotics when we were discussing digestive health, but how can they help us with immune health? Because I know that pre and probiotics can do a lot more than just digestion.
Yes, they can. So by aiding in digestion and helping make good nutrients that help our body, it actually makes our immune system more efficient as well, because a lot of the immune system actually lives in the gut, where probiotics live as well. And so probiotics regulate the adaptive immune response and help modulate functions of those dendritic cells I just talked about that mushrooms help out, but also other really cool, important immune cells like macrophages, T cells and B cells. And again, T cells are the frontline warriors. They're going to seek and destroy. The B cells, on the other hand, are memory cells. And that's, again, I mentioned yesterday, but, the importance of getting sick when we're younger. Kids and toddlers, I'm sure you know, Deanne, because you're a mom of 2 little ones, how often they get sick, right? Putting everything in their mouth during their phase. Yeah, constantly. So Well, yes. How do we prevent them from having the same illness over and over and over and over again? How do we do that? How does the body do that, right? Maybe they get strep throat a few times, but it's going to be a slightly different approach, or it's not going to be as bad or last as long, and their little bodies will bounce back faster. How do we explain that? Well, those are B cells. There are memory cells. They remember when we've been infected before, and so they can help get the party started faster and more productively. The party being the fight against the bad bacteria or infection. But that's the benefit of having good probiotics, is all those cells are on high alert. They're doing their job. They're being efficient, and they just keep the immune system in check. So if we get exposed to anything, we're ready for it, right? We're not going to be super vulnerable to infection or even seasonal allergies as much when we have sufficient probiotics in the colon.
Nice. Well, if you have not grabbed a bottle of the pre and probiotics yet, go ahead and grab that. They're 15% off and they are $22.99 right now. All right, so quercetin, that's in our immune health, mushrooms, and probiotics. They're all really good for immune health, just to help us keep it strong. But there are a couple other supplements that you should keep in mind. So how do we choose from everything, Dr. Jacquie? There's a lot to compare and contrast.
Yes. Okay. So when we check out this table and we know we want immune health, let's say we're out there considering supplements to talk to our doctor about for immune health. Well, like what approach do we take? And in naturopathic medicine, one of our biggest tenets is to address the root cause. So what's causing your immune issues, everyone? Think about it. What do you think is causing it? So if it's blood sugar, cholesterol issues, and maybe you have hypertension, maybe you have asthma as well, right? You have some respiratory health issues when we're looking at that first column. That supplement, the immune support, is going to check a lot of boxes for you because it could potentially address multiple things at once for you in addition to immune health, right? And so just going column by column with the mushrooms, maybe those same issues outside of immune health that the immune support addresses aren't concerns, but brain health, detoxification, cholesterol, blood sugar are, then we're going to stick to the mushrooms. Again, the liver detox is specific for the immune system being a little wonky because we have a high toxic load or we have been really inflamed lately. Our doctor came back and said we have high liver enzymes and they want to have a talk about it. This could be a good talking point. Should I detox my liver? Is this a supplement that could help? Very high potential. And then pre and probiotics, again, if you have gas, bloating, digestive issues in addition to your immune health, so maybe your immune system's suffering because you're just not digesting your food well, and you're having probiotic imbalances and issues, then I would consider the pre and probiotic supplement. And last but not least, if immune health along with metabolic health, weight management, blood sugar, GI health, again, just stick to what column checks the most boxes that apply to you and your health picture. Those are the supplements to consider, in my eyes, at least professionally. I mean, if my patient came to me and said, hey, they brought this table and said, when I look at all the symptoms that we're addressing, these two supplements look to be the most supportive, I would definitely take a second look as their doctor and say, they're invested in their health, they're making it match and work, and I would go from there with them. But yeah, that's the easiest way to use the table, clearly.
Nice. Okay, cool. Well, if you guys are enjoying our show, make sure you hit that follow button. It's a great way for us all to stay connected. And we just want to thank all of our new followers as well. We often get asked about full body detox. So Dr. Jacquie, what is the liver's role in the detox process?
So I kind of mentioned it before, so I won't belabor the point too much. I want to make sure we get to all the subs and questions today. But essentially, the liver's job is to take harmful substances and turn them into non-harmful substances so they can go through our organs and leave our body, right? So I think yesterday I kind of mentioned the tunnel of the sinusoids that are the filtration system. So the liver has a bunch of these tunnels, and just like bricks might line a tunnel you drive through, there's special cells that line the tunnels of the liver. And what those cells do is they clean the blood and convert toxic waste into easy to process byproducts. They also help metabolize different nutrients, medications, and then provide the body with some really important proteins, again, for the detox process. So those cells, the Kupffer cells, are really important to help with that detox. And that's probably, along a few other things that I'll spare us tonight, but that's really the main focus, is supporting those detox tunnels and those detox cells and helping them do their job better. That's really the liver's role in the detox process overall.
Okay, great. Well, the liver detox, the one I have right here, is $21.99 right now, and you're getting 15% off. So this formula includes antioxidant-rich spinach leaf extract, milk thistle, and dandelion, to name a few of the wonderful herbs in there. And you're going to get help for your liver, which is then just going to help the rest of your body. All right, and another one we have for the full body detox is our uric acid detox. So Why should we even think about uric acid at all? And what are some of the herbs and plant extracts we should know of when we're dealing with uric acid related issues?
Awesome question. Okay. Uric acid is important. Does anybody out there have gout? Does anybody out there have joint pain? Do you have a history of kidney issues, kidney infection? These are good questions to ask yourself, and you might be the perfect population to learn more about uric acid. So uric acid is what builds up and causes crystal formation in the joints. And crystals are really jagged kind of molecules that can cause a lot of irritation and damage. And gout, which is arthritis in the big toe, is actually an accumulation of those uric acid crystals. Okay, and so where does uric acid come from? A lot of people ask. It comes from the breakdown of purines by the body. Okay, so most of us have some level of purines every day. Shellfish, animal products, beer, wine, certain food groups that we're eating that contain purines. And so a natural byproduct of breaking that down is uric acid. So a little bit of uric acid is cool. The body's built to break it down, filter it out. The kidneys know their job. But the problem is when we overfeed that pathway, we overgive the body those purines to create a lot of uric acid over time. And then our kidneys can't keep up with that workload. And what happens? The uric acid has to go somewhere because the kidneys can't handle it. So it forms crystals and will cause gout and joint pain. So that's the importance of knowing about uric acid and how to clear it. And there are certain herbs that, just like, the other actions of the herbs we've talked about, they are very specific to the kidney and uric acid in particular. So some of them are going to be chancapedra, amla berry, devil's claw, and then any kind of tart reddish type berry that's going to be really high in vitamin C, cranberry, tart cherry, pomegranate. These are all really fantastic, high vitamin C, high antioxidant activity substances to have when getting rid of uric acid. So chancapedra and amla berries essentially just help the body balance out and get rid of excess uric acid so it doesn't take solace in our joints and cause arthritis and gout. So if we can take substances that are going to help the kidneys be more efficient or lower our serum or blood levels of uric acid, then we know that we can prevent gout and flares and joint pain and all that stuff associated with too much uric acid. So that's why I would be concerned with it and some herbs that can potentially help address it.
Awesome. All right. Well, the Middle World Uric Acid Detox does include extract from 12 different herbs. You mentioned a lot of them. So we have tart cherries, there's pomegranates, cranberries, turmeric, green coffee beans, amla, celery seeds, and many others included in this amazing. Many of our customers have shared that this has helped them keep their gout at bay. And if this is something you're dealing with yourself or you're worried about, I definitely recommend grabbing a bottle. You're getting 15% off and it's $16.99 right now. So we've spoken about liver and kidney detox, but here are some other plants that can help you with the whole body detox. So let's talk about some of their detox properties and how do we choose again? Let's look at this slide. How do we choose for full body detox?
So, okay, let's look at this slide. It's honestly, these slides are just put together really well. Like you can kind of tell at a glance, right? So go down the line. So I want to detox, but my immune health isn't a concern. My heart's in good shape. I would want a little GI help if I can help it. Then maybe that liver detox is going to be good for me because it aligns with the boxes that I want to, have checked. Where if there are other issues of, like, let's say you do have gout, or you have arthritis or joint pain, then the uric acid detox is going to be more fitting than, an immune or a mushroom, let's say. But maybe, pardon me, you want to detox and what your main issue is you always are getting sick or allergy stuff, then the immune one, right? Maybe it is your cognition and you want to lift some brain fog as well as detox, then that's going to be mushrooms. So it really just depends on your goals and your specific health picture. Yeah, so every table is going to give you the information you need to make the right choice for you, for sure. It's just organized really well. You just match how you're feeling, right? Or what you want to the table. It's pretty self-explanatory, but yeah, I think it's a really great snapshot to be able to compare and contrast some of the supplements that might have similar actions but are differentiated in one or two different ways, right? It's a really good visual representation to know.
That's good. All right. Well, I hope everyone's enjoying our show. If you are, make sure you hit that follow button. And since we just talked about gout and how uric acid can crystallize inside the joint and cause this about joint health, help us identify what glucosamine and MSM are, and what do they have to do with the joints?
So chondroitin, glucosamine, and MSM, they are kind of like the trifecta of joint herbs, or joint substances, I should say, because they're not all plant-based. Some come from exoskeleton of shellfish. So I believe the glucosamine is derived from that source. But anyhow, so the three together really do help reinforce each other, because they, again, kind of all overlap, but they each have their unique superpower. So for example, chondroitin is a sulfate, and it increases the synthesis of the cartilage matrix. Say that 10 times fast. So hyaluronic acid, proteoglycans, all the cool things that go into building a joint, making it supple. Chondroitin is going to help with that process, right? Then we have the glucosamine, and that's going to help develop and renew cartilage, lubrication of the joint, the flexibility, the nice sinewy kind of ability of a ligament and tendon associated to a joint. So glucosamine gives the building blocks to make all of those substances as well, right? So the chondroitin focuses on the cartilage. Glucosamine kind of helps make cartilage, but all the other supporting things we need for the joint as well, because a lot of joints have fluid, synovial fluid and things like that. Muscle attaching, other bones attaching. That's so much is happening in a joint, right? And then last but not least, we have MSM. And so MSM is highly anti-inflammatory and antioxidant. So any pain that's in a joint that has damage, any swelling, any redness, any temperature change, if you have a warm joint, that means that that's a good sign of inflammation. And MSM is going to directly help address the inflammation and oxidation that could be occurring in the joint. So the MSM kind of clears out the stuff, and the chondroitin and the glucosamine help rebuild new, better stuff, if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense. All right, so I have with me here our joint support. This one is 15% off right now. It is $14.99, so it is one of our lowest price supplements. And the reason for that is the serving size is 5 supplements. So it is a 12-day supply. This is your 12-day supply. It's still a great deal, because other supplements on the market that have similar ingredients usually aren't as effective of a dose. So I definitely recommend this. And you might want to stock up different bottles at 15% off, so that way you can have this great price. It's going to make it just really affordable to help with your joint health. All right, so between our joint support supplement and our uric acid detox, how should someone choose between those two?
I think the most obvious thing is, do you have gout? Do you have a history of gout? Are you at risk of developing gout? And if so, then the uric acid could probably be more fitting, right? Where do you have a diet high in meat and other purine related foods? Maybe you're keto. Maybe you have meat and seafood every day, multiple times a day. That's another sign you're eating a lot of purines. Even if you don't have gout, but you do have joint pain, but you have a high purine diet, as we know, purines break down into uric acid or produce uric acid. So taking the uric acid detox could probably maybe beneficial. But if you have overall joint issues, normal purine intake in your diet, no signs of gout, maybe you have previous injuries, you suffer with obesity, and that's what's giving you the joint pain, that kind of stuff, then that's when I would look at the general joint support and consider that, because that could be beneficial for you and your health picture. So those are the easiest differentiators between these two in particular.
All right. Well, lastly, I just want to talk about mood, stress, and sleep. 3 really important things. All right. So
Yes.
you have like a lot of racing thoughts, anxiety, and sometimes challenges to just stay focused. That's all very common. That's what we all deal with in part of our busy lives. But luckily, there's some really wonderful herbs out there called nootropics, and this can help us manage our body and just how it responds to stress. So let's start with mushrooms. We talked about them earlier, and they're often referred to as nootropics and adaptogens. So what does that mean?
So, okay, let's start with adaptogens today. So adaptogens, kind of built in the name, they help us adapt. Adapt to what, you might ask? They help us adapt better to stress, okay? So what does that look like? Looks like a couple things. Number one, are you easily triggered? Do you, when something bad happens, are you able to kind of let it roll and move forward, and it takes a couple of insults to injury to push you over the edge? Or are you pretty easily and instantly pushed over the edge? Chances are, if it's a really easy or hair trigger for your mood, bad mood, anger, frustration, reactionary responses, that type of stuff, guess what? You might be stressed. And so mushrooms, being an adaptogen, are going to help us, give us more bandwidth, give us more patience. We're not as sensitive to stimuli, essentially, is what studies have shown, right? Not only that, but it takes more to get us to have a response. So our threshold is a lot higher, right? We have a lot more tolerance or a higher threshold to stressors when we take adaptogens. And so not only does it decrease in our sensitivity to our stressors, but it helps us be more resistant to our stressors. So that is how mushrooms are adaptogens, and why adaptogens are so fantastic to take if you have a high stress lifestyle, or if you're trying to bounce back from, a stressful state or chapter of your life. The second one is going to be the nootrope. What's a nootrope? That sounds like such a weird word. So many O's in that word. But yeah, it's a lot of O's. But it took me a long time to learn how to pronounce it correctly. It's not nootropics, which is what I thought. It's nootropics, right? So, anyhow, I swear everything is not everything, but a lot of things are difficult.
I stare at that word in our script and hope I didn't have to say it, because I could never remember. It was like, I remembered no was in it, but then it would be like nootropics, and I was like, nope, got wrong.
Nootropics, yeah. I know. I've done that so many times. Oh, well,
it's easy, because now it's like nootropics. It's like, oh. Nope. It's a pretty crazy word.
Yeah, yes. And hopefully that crazy word will help us anchor how powerful it is. I feel like sometimes the crazier the word, the cooler the thing. So nootropics, they are kind of known as smart substances. And why? Why is that? They help nutrition, oxygen, nice fresh blood get to the brain. They pass the blood-brain barrier. They increase hypothalamus activity, and that's the area of the brain that helps us remember stuff. So we take short-term memory, and instead of just remembering that thing we looked up on Google for the 3 minutes after we looked it up, when we can put it into long-term storage and remember tomorrow or next week or next month, that's when we know our hypothalamus is working. We're making good acetylcholine and all that good memory stuff, concentration stuff, focus stuff. Basically, nootropics just help our brain work better. Usually more cognition, right? So processing information, retaining that information, focusing, all that good stuff nootropics are going to address. And so our brain is working better and more efficiently. We can problem solve better, and we're doing it in a lower stress internal environment. And that is the power of mushrooms, or one of, I should say. They have a lot. They have a lot.
They're a powerhouse of many benefits. So our formula here is Fruiting Body Extracts. It has 5 different mushrooms in it, including lion's mane. It is $22.99, but you're also getting 15% off today. So make sure you do grab it during the live. All right, let's move on to a pretty white flower named Bacopa and alpha GPC. Those are also known for supporting cognitive health. So can you tell us a little bit more about those?
Yes, of course. So basically, both have just been shown to improve cognitive processes like learning and memory. And actually, alpha GPC is actually specifically used to prevent and address things like Alzheimer's disease, post-stroke damage, dementia. So a lot of those things are caused by reduced blood flow to the brain, memory, thinking skills, all these conditions. And so, alpha GPC has been shown to help support that. So when athletes and test subjects take alpha GPC, which is kind of a stimulant in the sense that it helps the body make dopamine, which is our reward hormone, and acetylcholine, which is our memory substance that's released when we make memories, or retain information long term, I should say, when we're learning. So alpha GPC helps increase activity in the brain centers that help us perform better. Whether it's, subjects came in a few seconds earlier for complex math and jumped a few centimeters higher when measured in athletic ability. And so it just helps our performance. It gives us that little extra edge is what alpha GPC does. And then Bacopa, the pretty white flower, that's going to help increase our processing. Learning rate, memory consolidation. Again, these have very similar actions to the nootropic action in mushrooms, and just all the way around are going to help the brain be more efficient and productive.
All right. Andy gave us a joke in the chat. I don't know that I get it though.
Okay, let's see.
It says, what did you tell me if you get it? It's probably because I'm not a Star Wars person. What did Yoda say when he saw himself in 4K? HDMI. What? HDMI. Does that make sense? Oh, I get it. HDMI. That is cute. Thank you, Andy, for that. I had to say it out loud. I was like, I don't get it. Woo. Yes, that is very cute, Andy. Thank you for the joke. Very cute.
Oh, I get it now. Yeah. That's a good one. It did take saying it out loud. Yeah, I don't know that I would have gotten it either, but you saying it out loud the second time it clicked, I was like, oh,
we're gonna have to save that one. We have to save that one for May 4th, for the 4th Be With You Day. We're gonna have to put that in our joke.
I love you for knowing that. Yes, we definitely should.
Well, we'll save that. So, Andy, if you don't follow us yet, hit the follow button. We are full of jokes every now and then. Yeah. You got to get the right show. We have all the dad jokes all the time. All right. Well, let's talk about all the bad jokes. Let's talk about the cognitive support one. And this formula is really awesome. So it has the alpha GPC, it has Bacopa, as well as St. John's wort. And this one is $24.99, plus you're getting 15% off on this one. And I got to tell you, I was like super tired before our live today. I've just been like hitting it hard the last couple of days, doing a bunch of lives, and very exhausted. My body was like, you need sleep. I passed out for like an hour and a half. It was a beautiful nap. And I woke up and I was like, do I grab an espresso at my house, or do I grab cognitive support? And I reached for this, and this one worked so fast for me, like almost instantly. I feel just like more with it. It feels better than the effects of coffee for me. So I definitely recommend it. That's my actual testimonial. I'm not even paid to say that. I truly think that this formula really works for me. So I love that. All right, well, we all need sleep and rest to recover. That is crucial. So when we don't get enough, let's talk a little bit about sleep, because we have a sleep formula, and let's talk about melatonin. How does that work in our body?
So melatonin, we all have heard of it and or even taken it, but how the heck does it work? So melatonin, first we need a decent amount of serotonin, because serotonin converts and or changes into melatonin in our, in that pathway. Serotonin helps us feel mood stabilized, calm, safe, right? So we need to be in that area. Then we pair that restful state, that happy state, with the sun going down or darkness. And that's what signals to our body to release and or produce melatonin. And melatonin is what helps our sleep-wake cycles. It's the chemical that manages our circadian rhythm. And it's produced when it's dark out, because we are intended to sleep when it's dark and be awake and active when it's light, biologically speaking at least. So melatonin causes drowsiness, lowers our body temperature, makes us want to kind of cuddle into blankets and in bed and feel tired. And so the role of melatonin is essentially to help us get some sleep. And that's why, if you've ever read or heard me or anyone else say, no screens for an hour before bed, whether it be TV, computer, phone, the reason is because by giving your body that artificial light, it's preventing your brain from making melatonin. And so you think you're making yourself tired or your eyes kind of heavy by watching things, but in reality, that light is falsely sending signals to your brain that it's still daytime out, and it shouldn't release melatonin. So, be careful if that's you. I know that was me for a long time, but that is how melatonin gets turned on. So create a good environment for melatonin to go down, and I promise you, you should be getting better sleep.
That's totally me. I am one of those people that uses my screen till I go to bed. So, and it's not good. Not good. I'm going to change that. All right. Well, here's our sleep support formula. This is what we're going to wrap with because we are running out of time. But this one is so great. You get 2 milligrams of melatonin per serving. You get GABA, 5-HTP, and magnesium. So that's really helpful for relaxing, getting that restorative sleep, a good night's sleep, so that when you wake up, you're going to feel refreshed. And if you're planning on traveling, this is a really good one to take. It can help you with jet lag too. So definitely grab that. You guys, that was an overview of all our supplements. So many amazing supplements. They're all 15% off. So score them all right now. And Dr. Jacquie will bring you back on, and we'll just say good night to everyone, and we'll see everyone next week. So
yes, thank you so much for having me again. I always love talking about this stuff. Thanks for taking your time and energy and sharing it with me today. And I'll see everybody next week.
bye, everyone.
Bye.
Hear the whispers from within, balance to restore, ailings to relieve. Feel the nature keeping us, nature healing us. Flowers, leaves, and roots within. Hear the mind calming you, soothing you. Love and kindness inside out. Let the herbs from middle world heal. Welcome wellness, welcome wellness. It's revealed herbs, middle world herbs.